welcome back to part B, Mr. Wilkins. Thanks for joining us again. We've heard all about your upbringing life in South Africa. You've cashed in all your chips. You're in Australia, you sold the house. First contract to TSS. How long was it? 6 weeks?
For 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
And what was the job at Milk Bay College? The contract and that permanent?
That was going to be a permanent. Well, I've probably gone on probation, but it was more of a permanent post. And Heather said to me, skip that, rather come to TSS.
So you do a 6-week contract. What are you teaching?
Economics. So,
Someone's away?
yes. So Bill Grinke was an economics teacher, yeah? Sorry. And he coached cricket, and he was a very good cricket player. And he had problems with his hip, so he had to have a hip replacement done. So he went in for a hip replacement. So they had to find someone for 6 weeks. So I came down, had an interview, and I'm trying to think now of the guy's name. He's at Bond University. Gary Nusafora interviewed me. That's it. So he...
Performance manager he was back then.
No, he was one of the deans. Yes, he was one of the dean of students.
So he gives you the job, get the knob.
Yes, so I get the knob for 6 weeks. So I come down now, and I say to them now, because now I've got no I've got no place to stay. Staying with, yes.
6-week contract, you're not commuting.
No.
Where do you go?
I was actually just about to move out of their house, because I'd stayed with them for 3 months, into a shared apartment. So I got it down and I said, look, I'd like to come to boarding. They said, look, we can't offer you something. Come down. Virgo Buckland was in charge of Dilprat, and he wasn't prepared to take me on without seeing me. So I had to come down and be interviewed by him. So he did interview me, and he was very happy with me. He said, yes, absolutely. And then he said, yes, I can go into Dilprat. And so I came down actually 2 weeks, because I had nothing to do. I came down 2 weeks before my contract started, moved into the boarding house, and I'll never forget, in Dilprat, up in the roof, right on the left-hand side, that was my room.
With the balcony?
No, that's below, right up at the top.
So then you moved into the palatial things.
Down, absolutely.
So you're upstairs, and it is a shoebox.
It is.
The door is often used as a cricket wicket.
So I moved in there, and I attended the economics classes for 2 weeks to see how things were done, what they were teaching, etc., etc. So I was very grateful for it. So I'm teaching for the 6 weeks, very different to South Africa. So it means I actually had to learn the Australian economy. And if I make the comparison, I would say South Africa's education is more rote learning, whereas the education in Australia is more applicable to things. They put everything into practice. So your teaching methods and that had to change to a certain extent. I mean, in economics, look, I taught economics, I taught business management here, and I taught accounting. But economics was my big thing here at TSS. So it was for 6 weeks. Came up for 6 weeks, he said no. Now this was in April, so it was in the beginning of the second term. So they said he said no, look, things are not right. He wants another 2 weeks off. So they offered me a contract for another 2 weeks to the end of the term came, and he resigned. So they then offered me a contract until the end of the year. And my head of department was Phil Ward, and he was assistant housemaster in Thorold. So he was magnificent. I cannot express how grateful I am to him for assisting me for my rollover into teaching here at the school. So then I got the contract until the end of the year. Bearing in mind now I'm still employed in South Africa, being paid a half a salary for the year. So I then came to school, and I said, is there a job available for me? I need to know, because I've got to go back to South Africa to resign. And then they offered me a permanent position. So I was very, very lucky. Absolutely. Correct. No, I was with Virgo all the time. So when I left in 2005, end of 2005, Virgo was still, if I'm not mistaken, he was still housemaster. and with Ian Brown as assistant. And I've got to thank both of them, especially Ian Brown. They really made me feel at home.
Piece of furniture.
Absolutely.
So good person to have mentoring in Delhi as well. So how does 6 weeks turn into 25 plus years?
I don't know. I honestly cannot. The beautiful thing about it is it doesn't feel like 25 years. I have so enjoyed teaching at TSS that it does not feel like 25 years. It feels like the other day.
So let's talk about that for a moment, because you mentioned those subjects you've taught. Of all subjects, I believe, my humble opinion, economics is the most applicable to the real world. What do you love about teaching economics?
But if I had my way, I would make economics a compulsory subject. Because what you teach your students, they use that in every day. They may be a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, a bricklayer, a carpenter. They will always use economics. You know, everyone wonders, why is interest rates going up? Why are prices so expensive? What makes prices go up? Supply and demand is the way we live. And that's why, to me, it should be a compulsory subject. It's a life skill subject.
The change in systems you've taught across both the OP and the ATAR economics, the value of economics just continues to escalate.
Yes.
Because of the quality of the people doing it, but the application to the real world is phenomenal. It's probably that some of the maths, not all, but some of the maths, even some of the sciences you can do aren't as applicable across so many
levels.
Life. The levers that can be pulled in an economy are incredible. So learning about those, and that's just pushing the quality of student doing it, girls and boys across the state. And now the average ATARs and the scaling is really strong in economics. You are teaching economics, some business studies, some accounting. You're in Delprat. When does Morehouse enter your life?
Morehouse enters my life in 2005.
As head of house?
As head of house, yes.
Was that something you always wanted to do?
I always wanted to do. And I've always said in life, I wanted to be a housemaster, and that is it. I don't want to go any further, just wanted to be a housemaster.
For you. Emotions may start to manifest, possibly. What does Morehouse mean to Mark Wilkins?
It means the world to me. I've always said teaching, it's not teaching your subject. For me, teaching your subject is 30%. It's making a difference to a student's life. When I finish one day, which will be next year, I want to know that it's not every student's life you'll have touched. I just want to have touched someone's life in something they have learned from me as a person that they will use for the rest of their life. And that was my philosophy in Morn. I had an open door policy. I was honest with the boys. I was strict with the boys. They knew I had very high standards. To me, Morn was their home away from home. I wanted them to come to school and feel comfortable, that there was no problems, that they could come to me with any problems, we could solve it. Very often I forced them to do things that they didn't want to do. But what I was trying to teach them in life is not everything goes the way you want it to go. And there are things in life you have to do as much that you don't like. My father always said to me, go quickly, going back to the 2 years military service. In those days, a lot of people kicked up about it. And my father said to me, go into the military go and do your military for 2 years and make the best of it. Don't swim against the river, just swim with it. Go with it, it'll teach you languages. It will teach you values for the rest of your life. And that's what I want to distill in the boys at Morn. So very often I would say to the boys, you don't come to chapel. When we have a house chapel, if we're in chapel for an hour and we've got something for an hour, if you don't want to come to chapel, it's compulsory, then you're going to do a detention with me for 2 hours. You make up the time.
You were strict, and you mentioned, and you made no apologies for that, because boys need standards and they'll forever, boys will just bounce off boundaries. So wherever those boundaries are, if they're very low boundaries, they'll walk all over you. If those boundaries are quite high, they'll still push them, but they know exactly where that line is. You hoped over your teaching career that you've impacted boys' lives. You've done that in spades. If you haven't ever watched it, people listen to this, there's a it was played in Chapman. It's a YouTube clip of a little boy, and it's I guess a parable from a story, probably in the Bible, but it takes it to the same story to the beach, and there's a bunch of starfish on the beach, hundreds of them. There's a little boy flicking one at a time, just flicking the back of the ocean. The guy walks past and goes, "Man, there's tons of these things. Why bother?" And he goes, "Well, help this one." As he chucks it, and you go, every student, bit by bit, you've done a little bit of throwing them back at the ocean or lifting them up, giving them a boost or whatever it might be to being a powerhouse across our houses. For non-TSS people, our house system's probably our point of difference. I suspect every school has houses. Ours goes to another level. Morn had challenged the house shield much until you step in. They became very competitive. You timed your run terribly, by the way. You did 2 decades in the oldest, most horrendous resource house you've ever seen. And now they literally look like Qantas clubs. So you just bowed out just in time for the brand new house. Couches and kitchenettes are irrelevant. What matters is people. And as I said, the impact you've had on those boys is absolutely significant. What did you love about being a head of house?
The interaction with the boys. To me, that was my family. I'm not married. So to me, my boys in my house and the boys at the school. The school is my family. And now that it's coming to an end, I'm going to miss it. I'm really, really going to miss it.
Yeah, school's going to miss you. You're not going anywhere though. Hopefully you'll still be around. Sport days and activities. And we haven't even gone to the one area that I thought the evolution, and again, for the people who have nothing to do with TSS, even the grandparents who may not have attended certain events, talk me through your first ever Morn house summer. What did that look like?
Well, you must now remember, Canon Bruce Morn is our patron. And you know how strict he was on protocol, traditions, all that type of thing. So I had big shoes to fill. And I knew that he's going to come to the house supper. And both you and Greg know he would always write back to you, say, you didn't do this, you didn't do. But again, I'm grateful because it's things that you learn. So that was my biggest fear in my first house supper. And house suppers also have become a very big part of my life at TSS. So when I did my first Morn house supper.
What are the decorations? Forget about the routine and the toasts. And
Yes.
Old Lang Syne, Delpro. What did it look like when you walked in the dining room? Did you decorate your first one?
Yes, I did decorate my first. But no, we chose colors because, okay, so let's just go back. So when I was in Delprat, we did house suppers. And when I came to the school, we chose seasons, or like we did, we did the Jungle Book one here. And because we did Christmas in July, the one here. And if you go back to, and you ask Brownie, where our old gym cafe stands, that was the old gym of the school. It was boarded up and no one was allowed to use it. We would go in there at night, and we used to go to Harvey Norman and get all the big cardboard boxes. And then we would draw on those and paint those, cut them out.
Big Christmas presents or just decoration?
Oh, no, big. Let's go to the Jungle Book.
Yeah.
So it was an African theme. And I was lucky I came from Africa. But we actually painted all the characters from the Jungle Book, and we had them on 3D on the stage in the dining hall. Down the side of the stage, we had these massive big African shields and masks. So everything was done in black, white, brown, and gold. So that's the type of thing I did in Delprat in the 5 years I was there. When Morn came along, we went then more into a classier, if I could put it that way, house supper. So it was tablecloths, candlesticks. Where I started, we didn't have much at TSS in that sense. So that's when I started up my collection of candlesticks and all the things that we do now in house suppers.
So they've gone from literally looking like a bowls full of paper napkins to now being like very, very high quality.
Yes.
That's all because of you. You love it. Did all day house? I know boarding houses did house suppers and always had a theme, like country theme or whatever. Did every day house have a house supper?
Yes.
Sit down at that point in time. Did they decorate?
Not to my extent. So that's where it all started, where I thought, well, I wanted to do a great house supper, a memorable house supper.
That's your motivation at the time.
Yes.
You just wanted a great evening, memorable evening. Did you have any experience in events?
Yes, I did, because back this comes from my mother. This is my characteristic and my artisticness from my mother. So back in South Africa, I was a wedding coordinator
The weekends?
on the weekends. And in those days, I would only do like one a month because it was a big thing. And I would only do the very expensive weddings. So because it took a lot of time up. I actually, in those days at Sterling, had a group of 10 kids that were pupils that actually worked for me. And then I would pay them at a higher rate than they would pay working casually. And they would come in. So we would actually come in. So you must understand this. So we finished school at 2:00 in those days. I'd go home, pack the car and all that, and then go to the venue. And then we would drape a big hall, and everything was hand pleated. And today, all the draping in the dining halls are all hand pleated. So the parents and the students that have come there and experienced it realize that all the draping is hand stapled. Anyway, so that's what I did, and that's where my love and artisticness came from. And then I thought, if I'm going to this much effort for a house supper, why not share it with the other houses? And that's where they would give me a certain sum of money, never came to me, went into account. Then I would use that money to buy more, how could I put, better items. Yes. And that's how we've built everything up over the years.
And you had a house at 10, it's 12 houses, obviously. So we're talking about a lot of people over the last 20 years. It's quite a transient job's not the right word, but in a 3 to 5 year, 10 years are probably the average. So the average that out of 4 heads of house per house, like 12.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people you've worked with. Every single one of those would look back so fondly on the house supper and the experience and that wow factor as parents come in the room. I never knew you were a wedding. I never knew that because Zoe and I look like I can smile now, but Zoe and I got married in Scotland, as you know. But then had a blessing back here at TSS, and we often joke and say it was just as nice as getting married in a castle in Scotland. Here in our sports centre, you dressed up that Hall of Fame, and I think back then you draped every single. You couldn't be anywhere in the world. You could not see one trophy. So that was all skills you learned back in it.
Yes, and I still remember you were in the PE department, and we had to now find the fabric that I used in South Africa, and we bought some.
Big rolls.
That's right. And you know what? I've still got photographs of your wedding.
It cost us barely anything apart from your time, obviously, but it was just so memorable. We'd already been married, so I guess you're a bit more relaxed as well. We had 200 people in there, and it was
a great wedding. I will never forget. And to this day, I can now describe exactly what it looked like.
Because people walked in like, this is just a blessing. That's the wealth fact that people get in every house supper. So that has been, you think about what your fingerprints will be on school, more than us, absolutely. But the house suppers just have gone to another level and are a real highlight in parents' calendars. And to a point where there's so much emotion in your 12 families, they like almost talk about finishing with regret. It's over, the journey's over. And some of the presents and gifts and some of the farewell speeches of some of your heads of house, the mums often speak. I think it's the mums speak.
Yes.
Always, all the mums get flowers and just some of those speeches I'll never forget them. They're so beautiful. And I had this soft spot that I'd always wanted my kids to go to war. And then I forgot that my brother-in-law, Zoe's brother, was in Melbourne, so Max had to go to Melbourne. So what about life in Australia? You've now had half of your working life in Australia, half back in SA. If you had your time again, is there ever maybe would have been better to go down to Cape Town? You just like Comrades once you hit the 5K mark?
No. Look, I still miss my family and my friends back in South Africa. South Africa is a beautiful country, and I miss that. but no ways do I want to go back. I always say, South Africa is my land of birth. This is my new home. And it's welcomed me with open arms. The Australians have been wonderful to me. And I've got so many Australian friends and South African friends. And coming back again, and the school has been amazing to me. And when I think back to this school, and I'm very proud of the school, because I can honestly, and I've said this to a number of parents when they ask me, why TSS, should I send my kid to another school? I said, I can put my hand on my heart and honestly say, you send your son to TSS, he will come in as a boy and he will leave as a young man. I said, the teachers at this school care for your son. And the boys don't realize how much the teachers care for them. And that's what I'm so proud of the school for. We take students from the underachievers to the high achievers. And that's what makes TSS. Because when you go out into life, you're not going to be able to choose, well, I'm only going to work with clever people.
So true.
And and the other thing that struck me with TSS is the house system. How house masters is only like 100 at the moment. We started with 50 in a house, and now there's over 100 in the house. And the care that the heads of house have for their students, and the teachers who are their mentors, or their how can I say? Yeah, it is a mentor teacher now. It's changed names over the years. Yeah. So the pastoral care at the school is outstanding. I would love to see. I'd love to go to other schools to see if you can actually see that in those schools.
Yeah, you're coming from a point of having been a head of year for so long, you can compare the difference of
Absolutely.
Boys through their journey, students through their journey is so valuable. And you said you were the year 11 coordinator in South Africa for a long time. It's funny, most schools, you take the cohort through from maybe it was year 8, South Africa, maybe year 7 all the way through. So
yeah.
Their year group coordinator, but our system just has a way of making a really big school, breaks it down into very small little communities where every boy's known, every parent's known, or maybe it's just through dumb luck, our house system, but it's certainly 125 years on. It's probably our most important.
Sometimes I wanted, as I've been a housemaster, and of course you can't do this, I want to take a child and shake them and say to him, make the use of every opportunity that the school gives you, because it gives you so many opportunities. Don't waste your time. When you leave one day, you are going to regret that you never did this. And with our pastoral care system here, these kids or students are so lucky to have people caring for them like they do.
Depending on who's listening, the French back in South Africa might hate you, or the French depending on the answer. So it's pretty simple, guy. You just have to see which country's better when I say a particular sport or an activity or whatever it might be. Then there's a couple of 50-50s, and then we'll work our way down to the very last question. Whichever country comes out with most points is the winner. All right. Now, this is your opinion, no one else. So you can go off. If I say a sport, you can say, oh, we're the world champions or South Africa. It's in your opinion who wins out of your long experience with South Africa and Australia. So the first one is, which country is better at cricket? South Africa or Australia in your eyes?
South Africa.
Reina does the honours, and South Africa make history. The ultimate test, the ultimate result for the Proteas.
Okay, 1 point, South Africa. I think I know the answer to the next one. Which country is better at rugby union?
South Africa.
But it's over! It's over! It's a 4th Rugby World Cup for South Africa.
South Africa's off to a flyer. I know the answer to this. Which country's better at cheerleading?
Actually, South Africa.
I thought you were going to say that. All right, now it gets serious. Which country has best beaches?
This is very difficult. This is very, very difficult.
Rather than sitting on a beach in Durban, take all the rubbish out. So let's say Noosa. Yes.
You know what? The beaches are so similar. They are so similar. I mean, I fell in love with the Gold Coast. I just love just the vastness of all the sands. But when you go down to Sydney and you get all the small little beaches and the bays, that is beautiful. But then on the other hand, if you go to South Africa and you go up the Wild Coast and down Cape Town Way, the Garden Route, the beaches and the bays, they are stunning. So I'd have to say 50-50. Okay, now I would say Australia.
Would you rather go? So this is one of these 50.
Yes.
Would you rather go on safari or would you rather go snorkeling?
I would say snorkeling at the Great Barrier Reef because I've never done it.
Australia gets the point there. Okay, I hope I pronounce this. I hope I don't offend anyone. Which is more organic? The South African Ubuntu,
The Bantu?
Bantu, or the Aussie mateship? Which one? Which one has actually more gravity to it?
I must say the South African Ubuntu.
Would you rather a massive mansion in Johannesburg, big pool, all the guards you need around it, or a unit at Bondi?
Unit at Bondi.
So I would as well. Okay. Now it gets a bit serious. We're trying to get straight. In your experience, to take all of everything else away, who's got better schools, South Africa or Australia?
But now it's difficult because you're looking at the private schools and the government schools. Yes, but you must remember that there are a lot less of those in South Africa than there are here. I would say the private schools in Australia.
Who's got better schools, South Africa?
I would say Australia.
It's 4-all. And I'll put these two at the end in case Australia would struggle. Which country has the better salaries for teachers, South Africa or Australia?
Australia by far.
This one was just in case it was a dead heat right in the very end because South Africa started strong. Which country is the safest?
I have to say Australia.
Having been to South Africa,
I really, really have to say that.
Well, in your eyes and your experience, Australia wins 6-4. So next time someone says to me, what country's better? I could say, Mark said Australia.
I honestly would say that. You know, what I miss is the beauty of the country. A lot of things have been destroyed in South Africa, unfortunately, but the beauty they can't. You know, I was walking along the beach in South Africa and I looked out and I said, with all the problems this country's got, that beauty they cannot take away from it.
With all of your experience, Mark, growing up in a beautiful family, solid foundations, military service, well educated, you then moved to Australia, had a great career here. TS6 is very much an anchor point in your life. What is your advice for a young student entering TSS for the first time?
Embrace what the school offers. Take every opportunity it throws at you and make friends at the school that you'll have for life. I'm blown away with our Old Boys Association. And that's what we lack in South Africa. I actually went back to my old school, Sterling, and they don't reach out to the Almata like we do. And I said, you could make so much more of the school if you did that. And they're actually going to start doing that. When I look at it, you know, I didn't actually like a single sect school until I taught here, because I'd gone to Selborne Primary, which was a boys' school, and then I went to Sterling, that's a co-ed school. And I just feel, and a lot of people say this, and I tend to disagree with them and agree with them. They say to us, oh, I send my son to TSS, they don't know how, because they're not mixing with girls, they don't know how to treat girls, etc., etc. But it's not up to the school to teach them that. It's also up to the family and the parents to teach them that. But here, the boys, at a co-ed school, boys are shy to compete against girls. They actually let the girls, I wouldn't say walk over them, but they shy away, so they don't develop their talents like they should. Whereas at this school, they are competing against each other. So you actually get the best out of your son by sending him here, because he's going to. And the other thing that blows me away with the school is that we really encourage the boys to get out of their comfort zones and to try things that are totally, totally different to what they would take. And that is the biggest thing. So if I meet anybody, I said, if you can afford it, you send your son to TSS. And some of these TSS boys don't realize that their parents go away on the annual holidays. They don't have a second car just to send the kids here. So that's why I get annoyed when the students come here and they don't make the use of everything the school offers them.
We're so lucky, and it just isn't. You're getting reflective, getting close to the end of your teaching career. You mentioned the whole OSA. I intentionally interviewed you down here so we could have the surfboards. In fact, that's how I was going to finish, but you can't see it on the camera, people, but we're looking over our main oval, over the Centenary Centre, through the trees there. You see the clock tower. Having worked in this community for nearly 30 years, what will you miss the most? When you hang up the tie or the pen?
I will seriously miss the students and the teachers because they have become part of my family. And I would be lost and lonely if it wasn't for them. So I really, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. So I am very grateful, as I said, to TSS. You know, when I look up there, that clock tower will always be my memories. And the boys that have gone through the school when I've been here will always mean the world to me. They are my children. That's it. And and people say, what year level do you, or what year 12 group do you prefer to? It's not that. I can't compare that. I will not compare one group to the next group. It's the same thing when I've had brothers in the house. And people say, oh, which brother do you like? I said, I do not compare brothers. Each brother has their own strength. And that's what you've got to learn, is that people are different. And that's what the boys must realize. They've got to go out into the world, be happy and accept who you are, and go out and find your talents, develop them. Don't go and try and copy other people. Just be yourself and go out there and make the world a better place.
That's the good stuff. What are you not going to miss? There's got to be something you're not going to miss.
Andy, with my hand on my heart, I honestly can't say there is anything I'm going to miss. I really, there hasn't been a day that I've woken up and say, I don't want to go to work. And when you think if you look at this campus, where in the world do you get a campus like this? You would never, you come down Dixon Drive, and you wouldn't say you're in the middle of a city. You would not say you're in the middle of the city. And we have everything here, all the playing fields. We don't have to travel 30 minutes or half an hour away. We are so lucky to what we got. And we've got to thank the past headmasters as well as all the old boys, because they have made sure that the school is what it is today.
The architecture, I think we don't recognise enough the value of having a separate prep campus. So primary can do their specialist education, senior can do their specialist education, because they are very, very different. And I would hate to have a campus where you have from preschool all the way through grade 12 with conflicting staff, and it'd be really hard, staff being torn across different year groups. And so I think having our prep campus, which is incredible, then coming the boys just across the road to the senior campus, we're just so lucky.
They are very lucky, and I agree with you. I prefer them to be apart. And I want to see another campus where all the buildings blend in like this. We've got modern facilities like any other school has, but it's all hidden behind our architecture.
Beautiful old schools, and there's a big glass building in the middle because
absolutely
you make a statement and it's modern and all those things, but you just take away the organicness and the heritage of what the school stands for. I put the cameras here, Mark, because have our surfboards. Hopefully they can see them on the camera. We champion good men. You're one of the real good men of this community.
Thank you, Andy.
We've benefited so much. This world's a better place with you in it. This school's a better school with you in it. Forever indebted to you. I guess on a personal level, thanks for being such a great godfather today, because the other three godfathers are absolutely terrible. And that's on God. So you talk about TSS being your family. You are literally part of our family.
I'm very honoured that you asked me. Very, very honoured.
Last question. For the old boys out there, for all the worn boys, we know how good this man is with colours. What's that colour? I'm going with lime green.
You're quite correct. It would be lime green. It has been absolutely my pleasure and honour that you actually asked me for this. This will be one of the highlights of my life. Thank you, Andy, and thank you very much for everything. I really appreciate it. Thank you.